What's up? I'm Lawrence Murray, and you're watching Having It Made with Alexandria Jade.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't need your respect, cause I got it, got it, made. I got it made, I got it made, I got it made. I got it made, I got it made. I got it made, I got it made. I got it made, got it made. I got it made, I got it made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got it made, I got it made. I got it made, I got it made, I got it made.
Lawrence Murray is a multifaceted artist with a deep passion for photography, filmmaking, music, and creative direction. He's recognized for his vibrant photographic style and radiant personality. With a Stellar Award nomination for Best Album Packaging Design of the Year, Lawrence continues to grow his career as a creative while also launching his unscripted series, Unlabeled, on KeyTV Network. I am so happy to have Lawrence Murray here on Having It Made.
It's good.
How are you feeling?
I'm alive. I can't complain.
Let me get a mental health check because I know you out here, you busy in these streets. Like
I said,
I'm
ready.
How are you feeling really?
I really am good. I'm alive. I'm out here in the world, living, working.
I know you're busy. You're Superman.
For sure. You know, like I feel like I have much more of a balance on work and my personal life. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel like this year has been treating you creatively?
This year has been great.
Ooh.
Better than 2023 for sure.
Yeah, because 2023 was rocky.
It was challenging in all the best ways for me. You know, when you go through transitions and you're just trying to get your footing and figure out like what this new landscape is going to look like for you, that's what that was for me. And so now I'm getting more settled into my situation, and I'm happy. Like I said, I can't complain. I'm just living. How about you?
Oh, thank you for asking. I feel like I am growing, so it's gonna get harder, but I'm able to adapt. Like I feel like this season of my life is teaching me how to adapt and come up with a solution.
Period.
Like I cannot complain. I really can't.
I love that. I love that for you.
I do too.
Because that's just all about growth. You know? With every hill, there's always a valley, and you just got to get to the other side. So, shout out to you.
You just got to get adjusted. What do you feel like was the biggest lesson that you took from 2023?
The biggest lesson that I took from 2023: patience.
Yes, it's a virtue.
Patience, but also not waiting on other people. Yeah, and I don't know if I should get into all the logistics of that lesson.
Please feel free.
But I think so I had a situation where I was a third party, right?
Okay.
And we're just talking about like a work situation, right? And I was in service to someone else when we shared like, and I felt like that was, I needed to be a third party because that was like on the track of what I was trying to do. And then after, and it's not that situation didn't work out, but the situation played out a specific way. And I was like, you know what? Let me just, I figured it out. Let me try to apply everything that I've learned, and things started moving in my favor. And what I mean by not waiting for other people, you need people. You need a team. You need, people that you collaborate with, or, just ultimate relationships, I suppose. But you can't let that keep you in one spot. You got to keep it moving. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned, is, when you put yourself out there and you lean on your resources, things can change. So
because you're always going to find your people.
Yeah.
Like if you stay true to your vision and what it is that you're trying to do, you're going to find your tribe one way or another. With that being said, you are out here making amazing things happen in the world.
I'm trying.
But I am. You're a
Thank
camera
you.
guru, if I would say. You're dangerous behind the camera. You know that, right?
I'm doing a little something. You know what I mean?
Lawrence, I want to talk about, when was the first time you picked up a camera?
First time I picked up a camera, 2007. I was in summer camp. I remember watching that 10-15 minute documentary on the DVD, and it pretty much shows Beyonce putting together like all the videos that she shot in 2 weeks for this album. And I was like, wow, this sounds like a way funner summer camp than I am currently. So I had one of my friends pretty much be amused for me. I wrote and produced a song that was absolutely terrible, and directed a music video for it. But that is the
what was the song called?
It's called Summertime.
Okay.
Right? I was like 11, 12, 13 when I did that. But that was the first time. That's one of the earliest recollections of recorded camera work that I've done. And so I look back on that video from time to time. I'm like, yo, your boy came a long way. But that was the first time.
Do you feel like using a camera, the first time you picked up a camera, it naturally came easy to you?
Yeah, because my dad, he didn't have a career in photography, but he was a photographer. That's how he met my mom.
Okay.
And he would have like camera equipment around the house, and I was just, getting into things just because I was bored. So, I would say it was pretty natural. I liked more so being behind the scenes.
Yeah.
My parents, they're preachers and ministers and stuff like that. So I worked in the media ministry of my parents' church.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I would like do the labels for my dad's sermons and like the programs and flyers for the church when I was younger.
Wow, you were doing all of this as a kid?
As a kid, like 10, 11, 12.
You were using like software?
Yeah.
What kind of softwares were you using?
Originally, like Microsoft Paint and PowerPoint.
What? 97
Yeah,
Microsoft Paint.
yeah. And they had like those kid picks programs and stuff too, like when you in school and stuff. So those were the programs that I leaned on in school and outside of school. We didn't have kids picks, so I'm like, I want to be creative. So, I was making it work in Microsoft Paint, like literally painting out like backgrounds and stuff like that. And that's just kind of how I got my foundation. Then eventually I pirated Photoshop and started learning. I know like that sounds terrible, but
no, but that's cool.
Yeah, we had access during like the LimeWire, MySpace days.
Oh my
to
gosh,
hack different programs. Like you would you would pretty much like download serial numbers, and that's how you would get your access and stuff like that. So yeah, I was a hacker. I could have been a computer programmer, but I was like, I want to be an artist.
We didn't get no viruses on the computer.
Of course we did. Of course we did.
Oh my god, we're talking like the big boxy Dell computer.
Yeah. That was my first laptop. My mom gave me that when I was like in 5th grade, and then I got an upgrade in 7th grade after I past science.
Right.
Yeah, but that was the thing.
Yes. So here it is, you're talented, you're proficient with Microsoft Paint, all these other softwares. When did you realize like this is something that you want to do as a career full time?
When people started paying me. Yes. So the thing about
did they pay you as a kid? Like they
did. They did. So shout out to my mom.
Shout out to mom.
She and my dad too.
Shout out to dad.
But I was doing flyers and stuff like that, and people in the church would like want different like birthday invitations or like greeting cards or whatever, and they would pay your boy a little something. So I was like, yo, I can really go down this lane, and then I started building on top of that. So those were my early development years, from like 2005 to 2008. And I remember one of my teachers in the 8th grade, she would pay me to do T-shirt designs and stuff like that. And
wow!
And she would let me bring my laptop to class and to school in general, but to class and work on whatever I wanted to work on and stuff. And so I just became a computer nerd.
You were always kind of ahead of your time, because I don't know anybody that was making flyers and T-shirts and stuff like that young in their career.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, that was pretty, pretty early.
Yes.
Pretty early, for sure.
Okay, so this bachelor's in film and television at SCAD.
Right.
What you are from Savannah?
I'm from a small military town outside of Savannah called Huntsville.
Savannah.
Yeah, but I pretty much was raised in Savannah as well too, because my parents have a church in Savannah, and so a lot of my early formative years spent up there, and Yeah, I went to college up there as well too. And originally I went to SCAD to study graphic design.
Okay.
And then I minored in film and television. And so I did a semester abroad in Hong Kong. And I just happened to be taking my last motion media class because I was majoring in motion media because that was a little bit more sexier than just graphic design. I felt like I knew everything by the time I got there. Right. And so and like I said, back in 2007 was the first time I picked up a camera, and I always had interest in film, but I just didn't have the resources to kind of like, immerse myself in it. Graphics was kind of accessible because I had a laptop and, I was figuring stuff out on the internet. And so by the time I got to SCAD, which is like an art school, I always wanted to go to art school. It's like so many different majors, so many different things, so many different people coming at you. I'm just like, yo, I guess I can really, study this, but I wasn't really confident, so that's why I just minored in it. And so I did a semester abroad, and that gave me an excuse to actually go out and film and record stuff, because I was taking a photography class as an elective, but I was taking a motion media class because why not, right? And I was like, yo, I don't want to. I'm in a whole different country. I do not want to be in front of my computer for 18 hours. I really immersed myself in, street photography and learning lighting and stuff during that time. And that's when I made the decision to just switch my major and my minor around. And had I done that a semester later, I just would have been locked into the whole motion media thing. And I'm so glad that that played out that way. But yeah, SCAD, great time.
Yeah. So, like in today's, our generation, we have a lot of photographers that are self-taught, a lot of people teaching themselves how to use, Adobe and motions, like all that great stuff. Do you feel like SCAD is necessary for people wanting to pursue that career?
I don't think it's necessary, but I think that it is a great place to really learn about people, learn about the industry. It's like a simulation to a degree, as far as like networking and how the industry works in a degree. The stakes are just a little bit lower because you're in school, but I don't think that you need to go to film school to be a filmmaker. Okay. That was just the route that I took. Absolutely. And I mean, I suggest it if you're looking for an art school in the South. SCAD is dope. But yeah. Yeah. Wow. Did you go to school?
I'm just saying, I know a lot of people that went to SCAD, and they are like, some of them, like, it's mixed reviews. Like, some of them are like, oh, I love SCAD, like, it's worth it. Yeah. And then others are like, they invest into it, and they feel like it didn't get them as far as they want it to be.
You definitely have to have a plan. I will say this. You have to have a plan. My mom put me in the SCAD summer program for like high schoolers when I was like coming out of 8th grade, going into the 9th grade.
She was serious.
Yeah. Like I said, your boy was making some money at that time. Yes. And so I was like 13, 14. And so that was, I want to say maybe 2 weeks. I can't really remember, but I stayed at SCAD for, it was definitely an overnight situation for a week, maybe 2 weeks. And that kind of gave me the concept of, okay, this is what life at SCAD would be. And I'm glad that I had that my freshman year, because throughout my high school years, I guess I was developing into what I knew I would eventually land. Yes. And so by the time I went to SCAD, I didn't have a plan. Like I said, I was trying to figure out what direction I wanted to go into, but I knew that I knew how things worked a little bit. Yeah. Right. And so even when I made the decision to major in film and swap my major and my minor around, I was like, okay, well, being that this is my junior year, let me do work study at the film studio and get acquainted with the people who are, who's checking in and checking out the equipment. I can learn the equipment. I can know who's who. It was a great way for me to network and everything. So, I mean, if you do go to SCAD or any school at that matter, just know what you want to get out of it.
You feel like your transition was smooth going into the industry?
Yes and no. I will say that. I graduated in 2016. I moved back home with my parents.
Moved back home,
right?
With parents.
Like I had these big dreams. I'm like, yeah, your boy's gonna be the next Spike Lee. And then like, how does that happen? How do you work your way to becoming that? Luckily, I've had a long-time client at that point, KeKe. She was filming a movie out in New York, and at that time, prior to graduation, I had been moving around with her, just like doing videography, like, you know, recording her studio sessions and stuff like that. So she was working on her album on top of filming a movie. So I went to New York to, you know, just record that process, and that was 2 weeks after I had graduated, and that was a job. But I also like filmed a funeral after I graduated. That was interesting. I was still doing photography, like sessions and stuff, but it's not what it is now. You know, you definitely have to start somewhere, but that was my entry point.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were actually a part of KeKe's street team, right?
Yeah, so I had a fan site back in the day, like I said.
Ooh, let's talk about it.
You want to talk about
Let's
it?
talk about it.
Getting into graphic design, this was during the MySpace days.
Okay, MySpace. I caught the end of MySpace.
Okay, what year were you born?
I mean, I don't want to disclose that information on
Okay.
camera, but
What year did you graduate high school?
I made the cut. Let's just say that.
Okay, so you a 90s baby.
I'm a 90s baby.
Not quite a 2000s baby.
Not quite a 2000s
Okay.
baby.
Okay. If my calculations are okay. So you in your mid 20s, early to mid 20s.
We like in the middle somewhere.
Okay, I'm trying to get an idea, because I know that there's certain eras that, like, if you weren't there, you weren't there.
You weren't there, but I'm
Right.
hip.
But you hip to MySpace. One thing that I observed when I was getting into like MySpace and everything like that, like the people who were doing their own layouts and stuff,
Yes.
they would have fan sites or create content specifically for people who they were big fans of and stuff like that. And the whole concept of MySpace is just creating your space, stylizing it, making it custom to you. And a lot of that had to do with like coding, and those were things that we figured out just by like doing it, right? And so also a big Disney Channel kid. I love Disney Channel movies and stuff like that. Grew up on the network and stuff. And again, 2007 was a very pivotal year.
Absolutely.
And how it is for me is like how I measure time is like in 2001, I was in the first grade, 2002, second grade, yada, yada, yada. So smack dab in the middle of middle school, like not sixth grade, not eighth grade, seventh grade, right? That year, at the top of that year, there was a movie that came out called Jump In. Right? Yeah.
Jump to the rhythm.
Is that? Yeah. And I really identified with that story, but also became a really big fan of KeKe during that time, because of course she had Akilah and be in a few other movies, but I'm like, yo, the girl sings too,
right?
And as far as like black representation on the Disney Channel, that was, I don't want to say the blackest movie at that point, because there were other black movies like Up and Away, or, you know, obviously That's So Raven, Jet Jackson, The Cheetah Girls, and stuff like that. But during that time, Jump In was a very important movie to me.
It was.
And so yeah, I became a big fan of KeKe. And this was around the time she was releasing music as well too. So I was just like, oh, bet, like, let me just create a fan site for her, and I did. And that led to opportunities to designing her MySpace layout, designing her website, and then I just got on payroll, and they can't get rid of me. So,
and when did you start doing that for her full time?
This was, 2007 is when it started.
When it started,
full time. Define full time, because the way that I see it, that team is people who I collaborate with. But I also collaborate with other people as well too.
Right.
So, but like the whole concept of me doing graphic design as a career was never a full-time thing.
You are her go-to person though.
But she also works with other people.
Yeah.
We just work consistently together.
Yeah.
We work well together. Yeah.
Absolutely, y'all balance.
Yeah.
So you have designed for Tamar Braxton and Jessie Wu, as well as KeKe. What is the creative process like as a graphic designer? It's
interesting. I usually just get hit up. Sometimes there's a brief. Sometimes people just want to see where I can take their idea or their concept.
Yes.
And I'll come up with a few mock-ups. Sometimes they're like, this ain't it. Oftentimes, I, kind of hit it on the nose. And yeah, that's that. I love graphic design, but I'm like in the process of transitioning into just creating more products rather than offering my skills as a service, if that makes any sense. Because sometimes people just don't know what they want. They don't know, or at least they know what they want, but they don't know how to communicate it.
I was going to ask, like, do they have a vision?
Yeah, and I'm not even talking specifically about like musicians. It's like, people who want T-shirts are like, it's
people
like,
who want church flyers.
Yeah, and I don't even do that. My sister is a really dope graphic designer.
Okay.
I actually knew I wanted to be a graphic designer by seeing her.
Yeah.
She just never went down that path.
Right.
But she would like play around and stuff like that. So shout out to my sister Quinetta.
Shout out to sis.
Yeah, she does the church flyers. She does the T-shirts.
Yeah.
And so she'll be venting to me about some of her clients. I'm like, yeah, listen, I get it. But I love my clients, the people who I work with.
For sure.
Yeah, like, but with all that being said, it's like, I'm definitely trying to move in a different direction as it pertains to the design side of things. But, even outside design, I do music videos, photography.
You are a star.
Yeah, getting deeper into writing and producing and stuff. So yeah.
So let's talk about KeyTV.
Yeah.
KeyTV. I want to know, what is it like? First and foremost, can you tell our viewers what KeyTV is?
So KeyTV is KeKe Palmer's, essentially like her streaming service network.
Yes.
So she's getting more into directing and producing, and so KeyTV is just a hub of all the content that she has a hand in, that she's executive producing or whatever. So yeah, I have a show on there called Unlabeled, and like I said, I've been working with KeKe for a long time. And what's interesting is that like I can kind of track my growth as an artist parallel to her growth as a musician, because she's been through many different cycles of working at different labels. She was signed to Atlantic and Interscope and Island, and now she's an independent artist to where she pretty much funds her visions, which I super respect. But that has been a long journey. So Unlabeled was really just like a project that I pitched to her as a content piece for her album Big Boss, which she directed a movie for as well too.
Yes.
And it's like a lot of symbolism and stuff like that. And so she sent me like the rough cut, and I'm like, yo, this is dope. I think that to give the audience her more context, we should just like sit down and talk about the different phases of her music career and those benchmarks. And that's how we came up with Unlabeled. And that's pretty much a conversation series that I have, obviously with her being signed to major labels, to different major labels, but operating as an independent entity. It's not just her. It's her mom, who was also her manager, her creative director, and just different writers and producers who have been on that journey with her too. So I sit down and kind of unpack that history with them. So the first season is her story, and she had the idea of doing it with other artists, and we shot season 2 last year. I mean, and that's supposed to be dropping soon. I don't know if
ready.
I'm ready.
I like the flow of it. It's like a behind the scenes. Like that's what you were going for.
I feel like season 2 really, the production value is better. Let's just start there. And the flow of it is more in line with my original vision for it. When you first doing things, sometimes you got to work out a few kinks.
Listen, I understand.
Yeah, and so season 2, I'm really excited for that to drop, because I'm really excited about the artist that I got to sit down and talk with.
Yes, absolutely.
And when is this dropping? This situation?
We're gonna be dropping in July.
July? Okay. Well, hopefully by that time this would have came out. So I did season 2 with Dawn Richard. She was in Danny Decane.
Okay.
You know.
Yes, I love Dawn Richardson.
Her name is Dawn Richard.
And Danny Kane.
Yeah.
Her last name is Richardson.
No, she's Creole. She's Haitian. Well, let me not lie. Her she's from New Orleans.
No, but we know Dawn.
We know Dawn.
Yes.
Her name's Dawn Richard. But I had that same thought too when I was younger. I thought her name was Dawn Richardson.
Yeah, so that's how you pronounce it though.
That's how they just put it out there. But
okay. But we love Dawn.
We
Dawn
love
can
Dawn.
sing.
Dawn is
and
so
her
dope.
pen game is stupid.
And just a crazy
Go crazy.
Yeah. So I was really excited because again, like middle school days, you got to think. Did you ever watch Making the Band?
Yes, I watched Making the Band.
Okay, and that's why
I love Day 26.
and that's why I was asking you, like, when were you born? Because sometimes, if you missed that era, you missed it. Like,
no, like VH1 had a time where everything was just fire.
Right.
Like
that was MTV.
You got to see. You right? Sorry.
But VH1 too. It was VH1, MTV, and BET.
Like they're all partnered together.
Yeah,
right?
Viacom.
I just love how you're able to tap in to see, like, it's kind of like a documentary of how the process is.
Yeah, and I was so invested into that series, and that her season specifically came out in 2006. So again, like middle school, like even when they dropped their second album, that was 8th grade, and when she went to Dirty Money, that was like my high school days, and when she started doing her solo stuff, that was during my college days. So again, I got to track an artist that was super influential to my artistry, and we got to really unpack some things, and I'm super excited for that to come out.
I am so excited about you creating that content. I feel like it's so important to bring that back.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's what we're missing.
And like, this too. This is dope.
Thank you.
You know, you talking to the creatives here in the city. I'm here for it.
Chef's kiss. Okay, so I wanted to talk about your team at KeyTV. What are the pitches like working with the other key makers, like the process?
Right. And that's something that I've just been feeling through in real time.
Okay.
Because essentially before there was KeyTV, it was just like a text message from me and KeKe, our conversation. And it still is that, but I also have to consider and respect the ever expanding, growing team at KeyTV. I do work with, shout out to Lenore and Chelsea. They definitely helped put together the second season of Unlabeled, where the first one, it was just kind of like, yo, I have this idea. I knew, I wasn't expecting it to like be a thing, but then it became a thing.
Yes.
So it was just like, okay, cool, right? So Chelsea and Lenore, they definitely helped streamline that process and just making sure that everything was just kind of like where it needed to be. Because I just wanted to get the thing done. I didn't necessarily want to produce it, but then I was put in the role of producing it.
Absolutely.
Right?
And KeKe is the EP on Unlabeled, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So shout out to her too.
Shout out to KeKe out here doing her big one behind the scenes.
No, like she's been executive producing since she was Rags.
Yes.
I don't know if you.
I remember Rags on Nickelodeon.
Yeah. But think about that. She was 17 at the time.
Yes, KeKe has been
executive producing.
And the fact that you get to work with her, like being a part of her fan base, and then it's kind of like manifestation.
For sure. And, she's a dope talent, but it's also one of the reasons why I'm super appreciative of that relationship too is because it's not like she's just an actress or just a singer. Like, I also consider her mother as well too, who they've been in the industry for a long time.
Absolutely.
So I've learned so much just by being in the room and observing and stuff like that. But for talent to executive produce their own projects and know how they want to be presented in the world, specifically being in an industry that people will tell you how they want you to present or what they want you to show up as. I have nothing but respect for them people. I don't want to say them people, but
How many people were on the team total?
I mean, I can't put no. It's not like a big team.
Yeah,
but there are key players, and
I love that's so clever. You call each other like key makers.
Yeah, I guess.
That's fly. Y'all out here, key makers making it happen.
Yeah, we out here.
On KeyTV.
Right.
We outside.
You're funny.
Okay, you wanna play a game with me?
We can.
You ready?
No.
Okay. I want you to name 3 songs off of Someone Cool.
Okay, Bottoms Up because I did the music video to that.
You did Bottoms Up?
I did a music video to Bottoms Up. Yeah.
You are a genius.
Keep It Moving.
Yes, that is a great video.
And First Crush.
Yes.
Yeah. So the story about Bottoms Up, which again.
And I love how you guys talked about Bottoms Up on Unlabeled.
Yeah. So that. Obviously, the story behind that was like that.
I thought it was too.
Yeah, that was a single that the label didn't want to push, but then the song got licensed in some movie overseas, and that became like a low key sleeper hit for her.
Yes,
and at the time, 13, 14, both of us, she didn't have much control or power in that situation. Her parents either. And so for us to kind of come full circle and become who we are in our individual careers and to collaborate on that was like really like, oh wow. That was like a fairy tale moment.
I remember I forced my mom to let me get that album out of JCPenney. I saw it on the rack. I was like, Ma, I have to go home with this album today.
Like what I loved about it was that again, like during that time, to put things into context, like Miley Cyrus was big.
Yes.
I think Demi Lovato and everything.
Everybody on Disney was eating.
Yeah, but like nobody was making R&B music but her. And so I'm just like, she's the one.
She is the one.
She's the one.
The fact that you saw she was the one just proves it's giving taste. Okay? It's giving taste. Yeah. She can act. She can she could sing.
But it was the packaging for me that was so cool. Because she was in the subway and it was all these different versions of her. I'm just like, nobody's eating like her right now.
I love the video and how she incorporated the jump rope.
Yeah.
Moving, like after jumping.
Yeah. No,
okay, you ready for my next question?
No.
And what year did the Lose My Breath music video come out?
Wow, 2004. Yeah, because that's a very important album. That's a very important group for me too, because I literally remember my babysitter who lived like two houses down from me. She played I don't want to say she played, but the No Part 1 video came on, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Like, what's happening here? And ever since then, I've just been following the career of Destiny's Child and Beyonce, and specifically Beyonce. But I do want to shout out to Kelly and Michelle and LaToya and Latavia. Yeah, like those are all 3, 4, 5 beautiful women.
Yes,
and I respect them deeply. So
yes,
yeah.
Okay. So Busta Rhymes and Janet Jackson, what's it gonna be?
Okay, I see what you did there.
Tell me about the elements of this video and how it made you feel the first time you saw it.
Let's talk about Hype Williams and just his world building.
Hype Williams for sure.
Like what he was doing back at that time. Like I'm just like, yo, is this real life? Like there's cartoons and stuff like that, but like what am I seeing here? Right? And so I remember seeing that on 106 in Park, like way back in the day. I was like, yo, this is dope. How do you make this?
Yes.
And I don't think they did a access granted or making the video, or at least not one that I've seen. But I just remember like being super invested into Hype Williams and his artistry at that point. And it wasn't until I got older to what I really, understood what that video symbolized and stuff like that. And I'm just like, even more genius. Are you kidding me?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was like an era, everybody had that.
The Afrofuturistic.
Yeah, like even Scream. That Scream music video goes stupid.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And those are the elements that I want to incorporate into more of the videos that I do.
And you will.
And I will. But just even working as a director is not what I imagined it to be, especially in the climate of the music industry today. It's pretty much a joke. But But yeah, it's gonna happen.
I want to ask, because I know you're going to get big and hopefully you don't forget about us.
Do you remember when we first, obviously,
we
we
were
met on the
Disney,
set of,
Single Drunk Female.
again, a Disney show, Freeform.
For sure.
Which was a dream for me because I got to work as a social media. My role was a social media manager, but I just really came to set and just took pictures and videos and was just chilling, at craft service, meeting people, just chilling out. And then obviously you was there working. Yeah.
But before you get big time on me, what advice do you want to leave for? Because I know you're gonna do big things. You're gonna continue.
Are too.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Shout out to us.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for people that are just, they feel like giving up? They feel like they can't get their angles right, or people are critiquing and judging their work, and they just don't want to keep going. Like, what advice do you have for them?
To keep going, keep it moving.
We keep it moving.
Yeah, we keep it moving. Persistence is everything. If I show you my first video, or even the videos I've done 10 years ago, versus what I've been doing for the past, what I just did a few weeks ago, it's you will finally get to a point where, you feel validated in your work. And it's not even validated externally. It's more so validated internally.
Yes.
I like this. Everything just lined up the way that I wanted it to. And, nobody's going to get it right on the first try.
Absolutely not.
You got to dust yourself off and try again, like Aaliyah said. But
Lawrence, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You are a gem.
Trying.
When you're having it made, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Lamb chops.
You like lamb chops?
I like premium meat.
So your life is made when you got lamb chops.
When I got lamb chops, when I got lobster.
A lobster shrimp.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lawrence, thank you so much for joining us today. And where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Lawrence S. Murray. Also, check out my website because I pay money for it.
Listen, that website is fire.
LawrenceSMurray.com, so you can see my work and everything that I'm working on.
It's Google Lawrence Murray, and he come.
Yeah, I've been trying on that too, the SEO optimization.
You're going to have to teach us.
Yeah, so that's the thing. But yeah, check me out there. Be on the lookout for Unlabeled. And I got some really dope projects coming out this week.
And I can't wait.
So, yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you for joining us on today's episode of Having Made. You guys be sure to stay tuned for season 2 of Unlabeled. It's dropping. It's coming soon.
It's coming. I just got to sign the paperwork.
You just have to see what
Yeah.
here's my paperwork. Absolutely. Y'all be sure to check out Lawrence's work. KeyTV. We will see you guys next episode. I am your host, Alexandria Jade, on Having It Made. Thank you for tuning in. It's fine.
Today, I'm speaking with keymaker Lawrence Murray. Lawrence, it's just so excited to talk to you because, you are the entire identity of a key maker of KeyTV before we even knew that's what it would be one day. You started off as a street team member, the head of the street team for KeKe Palmer. Back in the day, talking about So Uncool album day.
07, doing it real big.
Doing it real big.
Doing it real big.
And from there, you worked up to being a graphic designer for the brand, to then being a developer, writing treatments, then directing videos, to now developing television shows like we have Unlabeled on the network. And now also hosting. The list goes on from the journey that you've had from the beginning. So just talk to me a little bit about how that's been for you.
Well, it's been really great working with you throughout the years because as you've grown, I've grown. Like you said, it started off as a graphic designer, but as I began to develop and, get into photography and filmmaking, I was able to, kind of practice with, some of the projects you were doing. I've learned so much, not only by watching you, but through the people around you, like Sharon and Lenora. And, it's such a community and a family that it's just I feel like I'm in a safe space. So.
Oh, that's so awesome.